Hey everyone, this is Christian Karasevich, and you are watching this week's episode of Social Chatter. I'm currently bringing on our co-host, Mr. Nick Rishwain, and we're getting a couple of things set up here, but Nick's going to join us here in a second, and we're going to have a great show actually tonight.
Hello.
How you doing, Nick?
Doing well.
Hey.
How about you?
Pretty good. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Very cool. I actually have a new webcam and that I'm testing out here.
Looks
so
good.
Hopefully it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna get our Facebook. Facebook page live stream going. I don't know if you want to kind of give our viewers, a heads up on what's going on, what we're talking about tonight.
Sure. So anybody who's here, this is episode 68 of Social Chefs. As Christian mentioned, I'm Nick Rishwain, and that's Christian Karasevich. And we tonight have it's a pretty loaded episode. As always, we have more topics than time. So we'll do a handful of the topics tonight on the episode, give you some tools, and then there will be a recap with some of the stories that we weren't able to fit into the episode. And so tonight we're going to be talking about Twitter Live 360 video. Then we also have some other matters from Facebook. The Facebook news feed messages or their competition with Google Doodles. And then there's the Facebook Messenger art and special effects, which I'm interested to talk about because it's certainly a ripoff from somebody else that I'm a fan of more than I am of Facebook. And then we have some more ways to share moments on Facebook and Disney's efforts to create shows on Snapchat. That actually won't end with that. We will end with several tools and we'll go to our expert Christian on the tools. And with that, let's see if we have anybody joining us yet. Christian on the tools. If you are joining us natively in Huzza, you can chat with us in the right-hand side. You can also ask questions and answers. There's a Q&A column. You can simply type in a question there. Generally, we will see your question in the chat as well. So no need to have to go into the Q&A column, but we will see both. And we will be watching the live feed over on Facebook as well.
We're good to go.
Good. All right.
So thanks a lot for doing that introduction. By the way, if the audio is bad, if the webcam needs a little better, if I need to make it brighter or something like that, let me know. I'm happy to adjust. I literally just set this up in the last 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sure there are plenty of settings to change, but I figured I need to start 2017 off because we're pretty much at the end of 2016. I want to start off fresh and I want to have something that looks great. So we'll see how this works.
Excellent.
So, as Nick mentioned, we've got a lot of really great topics to talk to you tonight about. We like to take every topic that we talk about every single week, and we don't just say, hey, you know what? Facebook came out with this and Twitter came out with this. We like to take these things and try to give you something as a business owner that is applicable to you, where you can basically apply these, these new techniques or these new, trends that you're learning about pretty much almost immediately in your, business's marketing, because, we want to help you succeed. We don't just want to give you more information, so we're here to help. So if there's any questions, don't hesitate to reach out and ask. So Nick, what do we have? Where do you want to start with topics tonight?
I was thinking we'd start with the Twitter 360 video, or as some people might know it, Periscope 360 video, but it is native now in the Twitter app. You can go live, and for people with the right cameras, you can make 360 video, and it's very cool. I watched the example that was that Twitter had on their blog with Alex Pettit, and I went in and watched that. I saw it come up the other day, and I didn't have a chance to watch it at the time, but it's already had almost 200,000 viewers since it went live. I think it was just yesterday. So it's really cool. He's walking around in Florida, and you can view it on. I did it natively in the Twitter app. I went to his page and I watched this. I think it's his pinned tweet right now, and it's him and this lady, Brandy Anthony, walking around in Florida. He's got the 360 camera on a handset, and from the viewer's point of view, I can swipe around, I can tilt my phone, and I can watch 360 degrees. I don't just have to watch him and what he's doing, how Alex is walking, who he's talking to. I can look around the entire environment. And I think this is really awesome. I think this is more of that mixed reality, augmented reality experience that we're seeing a lot more of.
Absolutely. And I'm so in addition to this topic that we talked about, I also heard, rumblings that, Twitter was talking about how they also needed to have, like the ability to edit tweets. And so I love the idea that Twitter is finally, they're kind of like, it's kind of, in a way, look at it like this. So Facebook stole a lot of, or borrowed, I guess you could say, a lot of things from Snapchat. I think that Twitter's starting to wise up here, and they're starting to say, hey, you know what? We got to get our platform in the game here, and they're doing live 360 video now.
Yeah,
and I love the idea that they're doing this. They're basically letting you on Periscope on Twitter basically be able to to use these, and obviously to use the 360 feature, you need to be in Periscope. But I love the fact that they're starting to really, they're finally saying, hey, you know what? We got to start doing some stuff.
Yeah.
You can't just sit around and wait for everything to happen.
They desperately needed to do some innovating without becoming Facebook, or they need to stay away from becoming Facebook, but they definitely need to do some innovations. We've seen that with their integration of Periscope into the native Twitter app, and now it shows the Periscope icon, but you can basically go live to Periscope or Twitter Live, or both of them, from the Twitter app. So you don't have to have the Periscope app separate anymore. You can just do it live on Twitter now.
And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, because, and I guess if you look at this from this perspective, so the way that Facebook has people going live on Facebook right now, what do they have to have? They have to have the Pages app. They've got the Facebook app. They've got the Groups app. They've got those different features. But I think one thing that Twitter's done a little bit differently here, you just mentioned this a second ago, is that you don't need the separate app.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Right. And I like the idea that they've done that. By the way, did my screen just change colors on you? Did it just?
I was looking at Facebook. It did get a little darker on it would be your left-hand side, my right-hand side.
Okay. But yeah, so I like the idea that, I like the idea that Twitter is doing something, a little bit different than what Facebook's doing.
Yeah. Because there's a total app fatigue, total app burnout. I experienced it personally, a total app burnout. So, imagining others are as well. And so if Twitter is going to make the move to integrate their live video into the Twitter app, which they should, and they should have, many of us think they should have done a long time ago. But I think it is a better use of resources for them. And 360 video is great. I did hear the rumblings that you also heard just today, that they may be thinking about editing tweets, and that they're looking for user feedback. That there was actually a request put out for user feedback. I need to go back and see if I can find that, because I think they desperately need some user feedback.
Now, so here's one other thing. I love the idea that they're coming out with 360 video on Twitter. A couple of things that are important to note here. Although everyone that's on Twitter and Periscope will be able to watch a live 360 video, only select partners right now can go live in 360 via Periscope.
Yeah, good point.
Here's one other thing. So keep that in mind. I mean, but here's the thing. As a business, I mean, this is, it's the same thing. I think we talk about this every single week. I mean, basically, if I'm a business and I want to tap into this feature, and I can't do it right now, look at what some of the other brands that you follow on Twitter are doing.
Yeah.
That's one thing I would say.
See what the competition is doing and find out how you can become a partner, because in certain businesses, certainly in the hospitality industry and travel and tourism and things like that, having 360 of the location that you're at is going to be huge.
Yeah, and getting, and getting access to this, I mean, like I said, it's going to be something that you're going to have to, in a way, you're going to have to work your way up, to get this.
Yeah, until they roll it out to more people. But it definitely for there are quite a few industries I could see who could really benefit from using 360 video.
And by the way, just a quick heads up, if you do want to get on the Periscope 360 waitlist, there is a form you can fill out.
Ah, nice. Good find.
I'm gonna put this here in the chat for everybody. So basically, it's just a quick, quick couple of questions here. They talk if you're on iOS or you're on Android. Tell us what you plan to broadcast in 360. What 360 camera do you plan to use? They recommend like the Insta 360 Nano camera.
Interesting.
By a Periscope producer, but yeah, that's like a $200 camera. Basically, it creates their spherical view of things. But yeah, so that's and that's actually, by the way, I want to show you guys something really cool. If you check out this link here, probably going to turn your volume down a little bit, but it's neat because it's a 360 camera that Periscope is recommending for this. And what's cool about it is when you're on the site and you're navigating your mouse, you will have, it's actually cool because you'll have the ability to navigate the camera, which is neat.
Oh, that's cool.
There.
That's cool. Yeah. Did you play with the, did you watch Alex's video and play with the 360 effects on your phone?
I haven't had a chance to do that yet. I just love the idea of live 360 video.
Yeah, I think you'll find it, just knowing how you and I are kind of fascinated with those things. I think you'll find it fun. Certainly when you're not doing it live, when I was watching the replay of it. So when you're not doing the live experience where you're actually interacting with the person and asking them to, maybe point the camera over here or point the camera over there, there's a little less impact for you. But all said and done, it's pretty advanced and very cool stuff that's happening at Twitter right there.
Absolutely. And then there is one other thing I love the idea of all these cameras. It's funny because when I was picking up, for instance, this webcam, I was like, I'm like, do I want to wait on this? Do I want to get this now? Because like all of this technology is it's changing so rapidly.
Right.
I think in 2017, we're going to see, there's got to be some consolidation or, just the need to use just, a very few handful of cameras.
Yeah.
So with that, let's keep moving on to the next topic.
Yeah, let's go to the next topic. Next topic I sort of looked at from our list was, it's not a major topic, but for businesses, it could be kind of fun to play with these.
Just what about the Facebook newsfeed messages one?
Yeah, the newsfeed messages. So from a personal standpoint, I've seen a little bit of this in my newsfeed and I ignore it from a personal standpoint. But that's me, and I've become accustomed to ignoring a great deal of things. Some people may be really interested in these types of things, the happy holidays messages. So basically it's like the Google Doodles, the simple, effective way for the search engine to mark a holiday. So on Christmas, you go to Google and it's got some sort of a little animation or effect above the search bar. It doesn't interrupt the search experience. It just sort of shows it. So now in your newsfeed on Facebook, they've got similar things. One example, Facebook suggests you check out the supermoon when the supermoon was taken on. But they also have a link in it explaining what's so special about the moon. Then they had the kind of a traditional Thanksgiving greeting at the top of your newsfeed when you log in. And then they're also the one that I thought, the aspect of this that I thought was more important for businesses is they'll be speaking they'll be using the holiday themed cards that you can share on social network as well.
Yeah.
So Facebook says users will start seeing invitations to share one of 18 holiday cards soon. Now, I haven't seen this in my own newsfeed. So it may be a great way for you to just touch base with customers. This is one of those things that I wouldn't overdo. I wouldn't on every holiday send something to your customers, because it may be like getting the old school e-cards, where those start filling up your inbox on the holidays and you're like, okay, I don't need to see this anymore. So I wouldn't overdo it, but it might be a nice way to touch base with somebody who you haven't been in contact with for a while, and send a little card through Facebook.
Absolutely. And by the way, with these, you can hide the post from the arrow menu that's in the upper right corner. So just a heads up on that as well.
Yep.
If you don't like them. But I mean, I think this is very useful. I mean, first they rolled it out for, it's the first Apple website, that people check in the morning. So I like the idea of these things. I would love to have, a little more customization, I think, for a business, to be able to have some sort of, to be able to run some of these.
Maybe
I'd love to actually be able to do it.
Maybe put your logo in the bottom right or bottom left corner or something like that. Just a little placement for your company.
Yeah, I'd love the idea of this. I'd also love the idea, though, of being able to to have something for my company that I could put out there that I didn't have to necessarily advertise with. I didn't have to spend money with. This was like maybe a type of post I could possibly offer. I think that would be useful.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, overall, from a business standpoint, I mean, I think, like as Nick said, I mean, this is something that you don't want to use a lot of, but you probably want to, you want to experiment, see if it's something your audience, would possibly like.
Respond to. I mean, if you're in the business of holiday decorations or something like that, then this might be, in your consumers, your customers are really into the holidays and the decorations and in the holiday spirit, then this might be something that really works for you.
Yeah, and you definitely have to look out for, as Nick said, this, because I think that's a great point. You have to look out for how you're going to use this, because you don't want to use too much of it, but you also, if your customer base, for instance, is lawyers, for example, as Nick is always talking about here, that's not something you use, is it, Nick?
Nope, I wouldn't use it. And you get the feeling, based on my experience and my customer base, when I think something will be useful and when I don't. And that's only from my personal experience. But a lawyer doesn't want to spend the time looking at that. They don't care. So I'm not going to bother them with that. But you come from a different background where you might find this to be useful in what you're doing.
Absolutely. I think this, and again, I mean, it depends on the type of company you are that you work with. If you're in like the tech space, probably not something you're going to use very much. But if you have an audience that's really really in tune with what you do, chances are they're going to like this.
Yep.
So definitely something to check out.
Yep.
So I'm going to keep moving here. So let's move into topic. What is this? Topic 3, I think. Facebook Messenger art and special effects, right?
Let's see. I had the one as the Facebook Messenger's latest attempt to hijack your social life. The Mashable article. Are we on the same one there?
Yeah. Actually, yeah. That is the exact same article. So we're going to put the chat here for everybody. So this is topic 3, I think, for the night.
Topic 3.
This is again, I think they're borrowing from Snapchat with this, aren't they?
Yep. They're not even hiding it anymore. So Facebook Messenger has launched this new, and even in Mashable says it, distinctly Snapchat-like tool, complete with art and special effects. The update lets users exchange photos with text and stickers and animated effects and illustrated frames and doodles. So this is just, there's almost nothing more to say about this story, except that if your audience uses Messenger, this is going to be a fun way to interact with your audience. If they're not on Snapchat already, or you haven't built your audience on Snapchat, this is a way to interact with them that can be more fun.
And a couple of things that are really neat about this. So got a couple of really cool things, but a couple of real questions on this. So if I launch Messenger, so one, you got to be running the latest version of Messenger. At that point, you can get the access to the shutter button that's on your home screen. You'll be able to then browse thousands of stickers, frames, masks, and effects, and send your creation to one or more friends. So love the idea of this. I think it's, and I don't like everything that we talk about, but I think this could be, fun to a certain degree. But it makes me question how much is too much, because if I'm a business, I want to be in a certain setting. I want to talk about things in a certain way, and I love the idea of doing stuff that's fun and stuff that I might send with my friends and whatnot. But if I'm a business, would I use this? Is this kind of edge?
I think it's one of those things. It depends on what your business is. It really depends on what your business is and where your audience is. I could see somebody like I've brought him up before, Chocolate Johnny from Perfection Chocolates out of Australia, who would have a ton of fun with this and has done great and really great and fun things with his customers on Snapchat and Periscope, playing with items like this. But he has he's selling a generally a fun item, right? A fun good. He's selling candy, and so he can really play and have fun with this. Am I going to send this to a bunch of lawyers or expert witnesses that I interact with? It'd be interesting to find that many of them on Messenger or on Snapchat, and B, it's not selling the type of culture that they're used to. Now, maybe in 30 years, this would be the norm for them, but they tend to run 10 to 15 years behind the times as far as tech adoption. So it really depends on who your audience is.
And I think that's a really good point that you make on the last one, is if 10 to 15 years, this would be something that could be useful. I think in the current state of things, I think that it's one of those things that I think it could be fun. I mean, depending on, again, it's about knowing your customer. But I also would say, if I'm a business, for instance, and I'm mainly if I am my business and I'm the face of the business, I could definitely see this being useful. But if I'm running a certain type of business, if it's a brick and mortar business, I probably would not be using this as much, unless people kind of know me as the business, they know me within the business, they know my personality, and maybe I could get into doing something creative and having maybe my own image at some point.
Right.
Hey, holding up a sales sign or something cool.
Yeah, and then you can play it up a little bit, but it really comes down to how are you using. I am using Messenger as a messenger app. I'm not spending a ton of extra time in it. Now, that I understand that we are the minority of Messenger users. Some Messenger users, and especially outside the U.S., are in it constantly. Some businesses are in it constantly, so they may find a use to have some fun with their customers this way. But I think it depends on your customer base.
And this is one of those things that it's something that's got some cool ideas, potential good functionality with it, but it's something that I think is going to take a little bit of it's going to take some time to really to be adopted.
Yeah, I think so too. So we'll see where it goes, but it's really fun to watch Facebook just copy Snapchat just across the board, and it makes you wonder: have they become too big to innovate? Have they become too much of a beast that they're not innovating, or we're just willing to steal what somebody else is doing in this grasp for user eyeballs?
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. I don't know if it's they're too big to innovate. I mean, I think it's more the pace of innovation.
That's probably true. That's probably
just because really, I mean, what most of these companies, most of them are not doing anything that's proprietary, I would say. it's just like, hey, I applied a style to, if you really look at the technology, I don't think they can patent some of these ideas.
They might be able to, and I'm sure they'll fight over it and pay each other huge checks, huge payouts over 10 years from now when it actually goes to court and then gets settled. They'll just like the Apple and Samsung arguments that have been made, and $billion checks have been cut, and Apple pays once, then Samsung pays it back a little later. They may battle over it again, battle over it in the future. But I don't know. It may be in the public domain. What's out there may be in the public domain and available to anybody. I don't know. I'm not a coder.
Not entirely sure myself, but I would say that it is something that I think it's more that the pace. It's each. And this is the downside of this stuff. Everybody's trying to one up one another.
Yeah.
And people, it gets people away from, if you really think about it, it gets them away from their core business values.
Mm-hmm.
If your business, for instance, has no business being in a certain space, and you're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
Yep.
It might seem like, great, it's going to work at first. And then, it just totally like, you're out there by yourself doing your own thing, and it's not working.
And that's a great thing for any listener or replay viewer to know about this. Is the same holds true for social media. If you're really trying to build your following over on Twitter, but you're putting in a ton of time over there, but it's not doing you any good because your users aren't there because they're all on Facebook, then you're trying to put the square peg in the round hole. So focus your energy where it's going to benefit your business.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, we're not saying don't try things, but you do have to try things.
Yes.
But you also need to be comfortable saying, hey, you know what, this didn't work. I kind of look at it like this. If you're going to, if you're not sure if it's some new technology, some new network, if you're not sure if that's going to work for your business, here's what I recommend to every single business I work with personally. I recommend that, you do your normal thing, and then you incorporate little small, samples into your everyday, task. So for example, if I'm not using Snapchat, for instance, I'm not sure Snapchat's the right place for my business. Right. Do your standard things, like talk about, tell your customers, like in an email you send them, hey, we're using Snapchat. If you're on there, go add us. Like, look at the immediate reaction you get. If you get like all of a sudden an influx of people and they're like, hey, we want to add you and whatnot because we want to see what you have to say. Great. Build on that some more. So how do you build on that? Test out some different types of videos. See what kind of reaction you get. But then after, like, say, a month of trying this and you're getting nothing out of it, you're not getting any engagement from people, your followers kind of, they kind of die at that point. Maybe it's time to, say, hey, you know what? I need to assess where I'm at, what we're doing. See if that's actually going to help us. So.
Yep. Excellent. Now, the next story, Christian, looks like kind of a repeat of one we already talked about. And did I miss something, or did I open I had the Facebook.
Actually, I think it's the same. I think it's the exact same story, actually.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how about we move on to Disney?
Yes, let's talk about this one. And I'm actually I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, me too. I think this is just another great innovation from Snapchat, or hopefully great innovation from Snapchat.
Topic number 5 for tonight is the fact that Disney is going to create shows for Snapchat. And what I mean by this is, I don't mean, Disney's going to start making stuff just for Snapchat, like for the company itself. No, Disney is looking at making shows. Let's see, how can I, maybe you want to word this. Do you want
to? They're going to be making Disney shows on Snapchat, right? Essentially, is that how you're trying to say it?
It seems like that. I mean, it's it says Walt Disney Company's U.S. television arm will create shows for Snapchat. Disney announced on Wednesday in Snapchat's latest deal with a major U.S. media company.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously some cash is changing hands. And from what I gather here, I mean, Disney will control and sell all advertising for the shows it produces for Snapchat.
Which is interesting.
This is actually kind of almost like, I would look at it like this. It's Disney jumping into continuing in the media space.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be making shows for the Snapchat platform.
Yep.
So I love the idea of this. It basically is super micro content. I think it's cool. I think this is actually, something that anyone could almost do.
I think you're right. I think even more important is what this is signaling, which, I mean, it was only a matter of time before Facebook, who just recently admitted that they are a media company. It was only really a matter of time before Facebook Live, Twitter Live. We've seen the Twitter Live do the NFL. They've got Bloomberg's. They now have Bloomberg Cheddar or the Cheddar on there, which is basically Bloomberg Tech News. And it's really, you can see that what we'll call old media companies are trying to find their new avenues or their new channels. And this is just one more step in that direction. If Disney's going to be creating content for the Snapchat channel, just like I anticipate we'll be seeing more of New York Times creating content on Facebook Live and so forth. These are going to become new TV channels.
Absolutely. And this is actually something I think we talked about earlier about kind of the direction that, we see social trending in 2017. I think one of the things I know I mentioned at least was that I see social TV becoming extremely popular. Social TV meaning people aren't going to be watching TV shows. They're going to be watching social TV shows, channels, whether it's a Facebook Live, a Snapchat, a Periscope channel, they're going to be watching that. It could be like something like this show tonight. Like they're going to be watching this stuff, these channels for their news,
right,
and their entertainment value.
That's right. That's what I see as the big partnership here with Disney.
And I think this makes a lot of sense. I actually want to see what a Snapchat TV show actually looks like. I mean, granted, you and I could go in and define this ourselves and just do it ourselves.
That's right.
It's actually really cool to kind of be, at the forefront of that. But I also am like, let's see what somebody else does first before we just jump in, head first on this, because it's a cool idea.
Yeah, and where will it be found in Snapchat is the other thing. Is it going to be found in the Discover section? Is there going to be where's the channel going to be found? Is it going to show up in my stories if I follow the Disney Channel? Is that where I will watch it? How long will a Snapchat show be? Will it only be 10-second snaps back to back creating a show?
Absolutely. The other question is okay, so will they use, for instance, Snapchat Spectacles? Will they use that as their camera to film, and tie into this? Will it be something where, is it going to be almost more of an advertisement? So for example, could it be a whole bunch, I talked about this before, a whole bunch of, 10-second clips that are filmed? Do they get stitched together? Do they get put on Snapchat as 10-second clips that have clues to something in the actual bigger show? Not really sure, but I love the play of this. I love the idea of this because it seems like it's not just, it seems hip, it's cool and fresh. But
it's creative.
Also,
yeah,
do what?
It's creative, I think, and it's fresh, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Absolutely, because their goal is they want to get to younger viewers, and at that point, are they gonna, I partly see it as, okay, we're gonna have little small, since the two had previously worked together for special live stories, maybe it is gonna be something different than what we're used to. I don't know. I even, what? Here's how I could actually see something like this maybe working out. How
okay.
you how you buy a DVD, or sorry, let's say you buy a DVD, you buy a digital version of a movie or something like that, and it has extras behind that kind of stuff. I could almost see them using this, as a marketing tool to drive you back to purchasing, or buying a subscription to a service, almost giving you like behind the scenes,
Mm-hmm.
real time behind the scenes of like the actor, the actresses. So they have, maybe they get pair of spectacles attached to them or something, and they're recording, little pieces here and there, and then they're putting those out.
Yeah.
So that way
I,
it drives the interest of the actor, the actress in the show.
that's right. That'd be a good use. That almost reminds me of the Twitter story that we talked about a couple of months ago, and that I haven't seen much more about, where you could use a hashtag to reveal some sort of content that was available only to you if you had shared this tweet and use that hashtag. Then you get to view some content that's only available, or it's exclusive to those who have retweeted.
Absolutely. And that's a tool that like you and I talked about, like how awesome that could be if a business were to tap into using that tool, because it makes so much sense.
I think the problem with that tool is it didn't seem easy to use. So I think business would have to be walked through the actual use, like handheld walk through that. Mm-hmm. How do we do this? And
you'd have to give them lots of examples. I think, like, yes, show them, hey, here's some examples of what people are doing to get them, thinking about it. And then, as you mentioned, do that hand holding and walk them through this, because right. I think that could be it could be awesome, but it does take a lot of planning.
Right. It does take a lot of planning. So it wasn't, which has been a constant issue for Twitter, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. Is that it's the simplicity of use doesn't seem to be there, and still doesn't.
Right. Absolutely. So very true. So do we have any other topics for today around the
I think we should go into tools now.
Okay, let's talk about tools. So tool number one, and you and I have talked about this before on a previous show, but we didn't really go in depth on it.
Yeah, I sort of brought it in at the end to give a shout out to the guy I know who created it.
So tool number one, I'll tell people what it is, but I want to have you tell everybody what it actually does. So tool number one is #spy.
Yep.
So what is this tool, Nick?
So #spy is a tool that allows you to see which hashtags you, or for example, a competitor, are using the most of. So you it's a very simple two-step process. Mm-hmm. Open the app and put in the username, Nick J. Rishwain. Search, and results are ranked by the popularity of the use. So it's going to tell me exactly which hashtags I use the most. There it is. Legal tech is the predominant one. Robotics and artificial intelligence and others come down lower, and social media even lower. So, which is interesting, because so this is me doing research on my own, and what I discovered in this for both myself and for the company is that I knew which one I was using the most for the company, but I didn't realize just how little I was using some of the other important hashtags. So I knew which one I wanted to be dominant on, and I knew I was being dominant on that. But I didn't realize that I should be touching others more frequently than I was.
And I'll say I was actually the same way. I looked at mine for Social Chefs, and I checked that out, and I was surprised that we were using. I think more surprised by the volume we were using, for instance, social media, #social media, as our main hashtag on Twitter.
Right.
But I think at the same time, it was great, because you could go look at, you could look at competitors and see, for example, like what they're using, and see, like, are you kind of headed down the right path? Or are you not headed down the right path? If they're using the same hashtag, you are great. Or there are other ones they're using if you have similar content, for instance.
Right.
Consider, incorporating that into your own strategy.
So it's great market intelligence, basically, or great market research.
Absolutely. And it's super, super, super easy to use. And the guy, Chris Bear, who created this app, I like the app. I love the fact that it's so easy to use and
so easy to use. And I think that
data.
I think the one thing that you and I had talked about is it would be interesting to have this then, and I don't know if there's an API, if you're allowed to get into the API for this or not, but it'd be really very helpful for people to use this on Instagram as well. And right now it's only tied to Twitter, as I understand it.
Yeah, and I think it's probably an API thing. I actually wrote Chris on this just to get an idea, and I didn't hear anything back from him yet.
Okay.
But, I think that it's very likely an API thing.
Okay.
Because if you look through, for instance, the description for iTunes, they allow you to do like 70 searches like in an hour or something to that effect.
Okay.
So probably just, it used to be like you could just get all the data, then they started cutting it off. So.
Okay.
But very cool tool, and it's free, by the way. That's the other thing. It's free.
It's free.
Yep. You don't have to pay for other hashtag tools just to look at Twitter.
And it's simple to use. It is. There are a few apps this simple.
Absolutely, super simple, and it's quick too. I was surprised by how quickly it returned the data.
Yeah, very good. Very good for research.
So let's talk about tool number 2. So tonight we have a tool called Yappie, and Yappie is basically a way for you to aggregate your favorite podcast. And interact with other people who share common interests. So basically, it's essentially, they call it social podcasting.
Oh, okay.
And basically what you can do here is, you can take a look at some of the different podcasts that are available. You can look at, what people are liking, what they're commenting on. You can engage with those people, basically. So it's pretty neat that they have, this, essentially they've created a social network around podcasting versus, if you just go to like, say, Facebook, or Twitter or whatnot, and you talk about a podcast, that's about as far as it's really going to go for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You ask somebody what their favorite podcast is, chances are they're going to say this. They're going to say, one they listen to all the time versus like having a very thorough breadth of like knowledge about other podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So this tool will help you, I think, surface a lot of the other podcasts that may be out there that, they don't happen to get at the top of iTunes because, hey, they're not constantly pegging their audience saying, hey, give us a rating on iTunes.
Right.
I think ratings and reviews are super important as a business. It's also a system that I think has been gamed a lot lately.
Sure.
You have a lot of people that, they have tactics in their email marketing to get people to leave a rating, to leave a review. This doesn't just happen on like iTunes for podcasting. This also happens a lot on Amazon. A lot of those people that are like, hey, I got a bestseller, they really don't have a bestseller. They were just able to get a bunch of people to leave a review about something.
That's right.
A lot of times if you look through the reviews, you'll see, hey, you know what? Everybody's saying very positive things, but hey, there's a couple of negative ones here.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to look into those before just, buying into the fact that like, hey, there's a whole bunch of people that say this is really great.
Right. Right, because you don't know what they got for saying that. Maybe there's a discount involved. Leave us a positive review, get a discount. I don't know if you can do that, but I think if you did it in your email marketing outside of Amazon's eyes, then you might be able to get away with that.
Yeah, actually, because a lot of people, what they will do is they will say, hey, leave us a review and then send us an email. So like they'll ask you to go leave a review and then they'll say, hey, send us an email with your name, with your address and what your username is, for instance, on iTunes or something, and then they'll get a separate email so they can easily correlate that stuff. And at that point, they can give you something without having like to kind of get basically they get around the rules.
Right.
Yeah. So that's Yappie.
All right. And what's our last tool for the evening? What's our last tool for the year?
I was gonna say, last tool for 2016. And by the way, if you want to put these up in the Facebook on the Facebook page.
Yep, I'm doing it.
Last tool is Calendar X. Now, this is actually a pretty neat little tool that I came across. Calendar X is, let's see. Let's talk about it. It's they have a get started for free option. They then go up to $7 a month, $29 a month, and $72 a month. But basically, what you can do, and this is pretty neat, you basically build your calendar, add events, and get started getting followers. So it's almost like a social media calendar.
Okay.
Because you get followers, for instance.
Okay.
But then what's neat about it, so you got a follow button, a follow page, and then you can share like your calendar and newsletters, all that sort of stuff. Okay. So what this basically does If you look through this, is you create a calendar. You add the follow our calendar button to your website. Very simple. Somebody has a button, they click on it. You add your events to the calendar, and then you have your audience follow your calendar.
Okay.
So I'm going to use this in this context. So for example, with Social Chatter, a couple of things that we do is we put these up on Huzza. Okay. I create a Facebook event on the Facebook page, and that event, for instance, taps into the Facebook page calendar.
Okay.
Now, if you have the Facebook events app and I update something on the calendar, you're going to get notified about this. Okay. So at that point, I'm tapping into the Facebook audience. Now, what this does, though, is this taps into people's calendar on their mobile device. And this is the cool part about this, is that if I encourage you to follow our calendar of whatever it is whatever we have going on, I'm actually getting on your device, and I'm actually not just going to be bogged down into all your social media notifications you're getting. I'm on your calendar. Chances are you could probably, I'm sure you have a calendar app, right?
Yeah.
Probably put some things on your calendar, and then you get your calendar to pop up, and you don't have, for instance, like you don't have your social media postings or notifications or whatever popping up on your calendar. You've got important events popping on your calendar.
Right.
So if I add this as a business to my calendar, if I set this up and then I publish this on my website, I'm going to actually have a better chance of getting in front of somebody than I might have on a social media channel.
Okay. All right.
This now, for instance, in your case, this might be something extremely useful for your audience, because chances are, they're using their social media channels to a certain extent, but they probably use their calendars a lot more. Yep. So I could see, for instance, people in your profession definitely using this to get in front of their audience a lot more.
That's interesting. I'm going to have to look into this one a little bit more.
And and looking at 2017, by the way. So I mean, the thing that I think is cool about this is it's using a calendar as a marketing tool. So that's pretty
really
slick.
Interesting. That's pretty slick using it, because you got to look at your calendar all the time. So this is a pretty good idea. Pretty good idea. I need to play around with this one.
And there's a couple of other really neat benefits, I think, to this. So one of those is you can test, you can track, you can optimize, you can repeat different events. Heck, this might even be something we want to even try in 2017 and see if it, see how it works as far as like bringing in more viewers.
Yeah.
But and the thing is, if you start to plan this stuff out, it's awesome, because you get on their calendar, and then hey, somebody's checking out their calendar. Oh, what's that event? Oh, right. I remember I got to go watch that, on Thursday nights, for instance, at 9 p.m.
Right.
In addition to this, the other piece that I think is extremely great about this feature, this Calendar X, is that who your followers are.
Yeah.
So on social channels, like you get a ton of people following your accounts. You don't know, out of 450,000, for instance, fans you might have, you don't know half of who those people are. I'm sure.
That's right.
Don't pay attention to that. You're more interested in like, oh, did the number go up?
Right.
And with a tool like this, you will be able to also know who your followers are, because there's like a custom sign-up form that you can use to build and to track your audience and to introduce yourself to people who are new.
Interesting.
So figured that would be a good tool to wrap up 2016 with.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at that. We did it in well under an hour tonight, which was pretty good.
Yeah, and I think it's partly because we I think we did great on this. I mean, I think we've done how many 60 something shows? I mean, it's a lot of shows.
Yeah. You've done 60 something. How many do we know how many I've done with you now? It's got to be like 22, I think.
Easily.
I want to say it came in in the late 40s.
Well, I will say this. I value having you co-host with me. I really do. I think, you do a phenomenal job, and, you bring a lot of really great insight to things. So
well, thank you. I appreciate it.
20 something, 30 something, 40 something, it doesn't matter to me. I love it.
No, I know. I just, I wonder when I started just for my own knowledge. I want to say it was August or September of this year. But
the hardest part is going back at all the episodes and looking at the episodes, because, as we know, in 2016, a lot of these sites shut down.
That's right.
Different sites.
You can only see really the episodes on YouTube, right? That's where they're all saved. Yeah,
you can see most of them there. Some of them didn't get up because the channels didn't give us the download.
Yeah, that's right. That was it's been a year. It's been a whirlwind year, especially if you've been in live video or any form of tech.
Absolutely, and for those of you, I just want to say, so my video just froze.
I see that. Let's see if let me see though because when we had your camera issue earlier, we did not have a camera issue on. We didn't have it on Facebook, which was interesting. You were still visible on Facebook, and you are still visible on Facebook right now.
That's good. So that tells us
but you are frozen there as well.
Yes. Too bad I'm not smiling there, but I would say, it's been a phenomenal year. We've done a lot of really great things. We got a lot of great things we're working on for 2017. But I want to say, this has been a phenomenal year. We've done, we've been really successful with what we're doing, and we're looking to take this to the next level in 2017.
Yeah. Thanks for including me on this. It's been fun.
Absolutely.
I always like doing live video when I get a chance. So, well, close us out for 2016.
Well, so for those of you who want to watch next week's show, I think what day are we on? I think we're on the 5th, right? I think that's.
Let's see. Let me go to my calendar.
We're on the 5th. That would be. Let's see. It
would be next
Thursday at 9 p.m. So nothing's changing there. We're going to have more social media news, topics, tools, and trends to talk with you about. If you have any questions on anything, you're welcome to send me a tweet at Social Chefs, at Nick J. Rishwain. Use the hashtag social chatter. We'll make sure we check that. And then, if you subscribe, and the other thing I want to invite everyone to do is if you want to get our daily email we send, just go to socialchefs.com/subscribe. You'll get some ideas on what we're going to talk about tonight. You'll also get a link get a couple of emails every single day of some of the social media news that we find that we don't always talk about on the show. And with that, I just want to say I want to wish everyone a pleasant 2017, a successful 2017. If there's anything we can help you with, if you're a business owner, small business owner, B2B, B2C, doesn't really matter. We can help you. We've got a vast amount of experience doing this. Nick, anything you want to add to wrap up?
Just want to say Happy New Year to you and your wife, and a Happy New Year to the audience. And thanks for showing. Anybody who's here tonight, thank you very much.
Sounds good. We will see you later.
All right. Have a good night.
Good evening, everyone. Bye.